Meanwhile, back in the States, the city of Kenosha, Wisconsin, bracing for a verdict in the Kyle Rittenhouse trial.
Our panelists are back to weigh in. Peter King, Jacquie Jordan, Crystal Knight, welcome back. From a media perspective here, the judge told the jury to not let any outside sources sway them amid the deliberations. We're in day 2 now. And this trial in particular, though, the mainstream media, if they did watch, has rushed to judgment already about Rittenhouse. Here's that.
That acting job of the crying, I can't even look at it.
Well, this is the...
That is one of the worst acting jobs I've ever seen.
This whole thing of, the whole breaking down and dry heaving in court, that was one thing that we didn't see from Zimmerman, but, making himself the victim.
The jurors saw what must be the greatest performance of Kyle Rittenhouse's life.
They put the mother right in that courtroom and said, bring plenty of tissues, because the jury's looking at the mother crying.
Yeah.
Is that stage? Is that theatrical? Broadway's ready.
Crystal Knight, I'll go to you on that. What do you make of the media's coverage on this Rittenhouse trial, even from day 1 to where we are today? Remember, the jury is not sequestered. They're able to see some of this stuff. They're able to see the protests outside and how others feel outside of the courtroom.
Well, I think the media's portrayal is accurate. What we've seen are major inconsistencies in this trial on behalf of the judge, and even Kyle Rittenhouse himself and his mother. I agree with the theatrics that, this trial is really bringing out in this case. Even this picture that you're highlighting right now, where Kyle is on beside or behind the judge, that's really unprecedented. We haven't seen that in other cases of this magnitude, cases this serious. And what we're really seeing is this judge act in very biased ways. And even Kyle's lawyers are being biased about who can sit in the gallery. And so I think that the portrayal of the shows that you just showed is pretty accurate, that this is a very unusual case, and it has some unusual antics that we typically don't see in trials.
All right, so you say the media is accurately portraying it, or at least the clips that we just played. Peter King, your thoughts on what you're seeing?
I think the media has been disgracefully biased. I think that President Biden was biased from the start of this case. The evidence that we've seen on television, at least, shows that this was self-defense. The charges should never have been brought in the first place. They arose out of race riots that were caused, and the governor failed to respond to them. Listen, to me, Rittenhouse is no hero, but the fact is he's on trial for murder, and self-defense is a complete defense against murder, and he clearly was defending himself against a mob.
Jacquie Jordan, your thoughts?
As a media consultant, the liberal media has been characterizing this trial from the very beginning using words like white supremacist, and I think the overall agenda is to inform Americans that we have no right of self-defense. And we saw this also play out with Mark and Patricia McCluskey when they stepped out of their house when they felt threatened with the marches that were coming up their street. So I think, and I watch weaponized media narratives take place, like white supremacists, domestic terrorists, super spreader, and another narrative that is used in the media to kind of create these fear streams and imprints on people that are more like opinions as opposed to real hardcore journalism.
Well, hopefully the jury does not reach a conclusion based on narratives, just the facts alone, and they are deliberating again day 2. That happens as we speak right now. We'll keep an eye on the courtroom. In the meantime, though, I'd like to pivot over to this new whistleblower case from the FBI, saying in documents that the U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland had lied to lawmakers about using the DOJ to target parents who spoke out at school boards. Here's an excerpt of that leaked email here, saying the purpose of the threat tag, a threat tag that they created, is to help scope this threat on a national level and provide an opportunity for comprehensive analysis of the threat picture for effective engagement with law enforcement partners at all levels. So as the DOJ memo implied, the FBI now taking an active role in these sort of school board threats. Crystal Knight, your thoughts on this story, the importance of it as well?
Well, I think we've had this conversation before. There's been many school board meetings where parents and teachers have had serious threats. And one of the things that's getting lost in this narrative is that the FBI is simply investigating the threats. not actually taking action against parents or against school board members. And so that's something that I think has really been misconstrued in the media. And I just want to clear it up for your viewers that, the FBI is investigating anyone that is attending these school board meetings with the threat of violence.
Final thoughts from Peter King before we move on.
Yeah, the FBI is only authorized to investigate when there's an alleged violation of a federal crime. There's no violation here of a federal crime, and there's no basis for it at all. If they want to investigate something, they should investigate the Black Lives Matter leader in New York City who threatened violence and bloodshed. If Eric Adams, the new mayor, African-American, by the way, puts the anti-crime unit back in the street, that's a real threat of violence.
Yeah. In the meantime, though, spending time on those parents. Okay, Peter King, Jacquie Jordan, Crystal Knight, thank you, panelists. We appreciate it.
A new hour of National Report starts right now.